Okay, good evening and welcome to the April 9th, 2026 Alameda Recreation and Park Commission meeting. Could we begin this evening with a roll call, please?
Chair Adis,
Present.
Vice Chair Swartz,
Present.
Commissioner Alexander,
Here.
Commissioner Bernie.
Present.
Thank you. The first item on our agenda this evening is non-agenda public comment. Members of the public may speak for 3 minutes regarding any matter not on the agenda. Commissioners will not respond to comments or answer questions. The city welcomes speakers providing public comment, but please be advised that this is a limited public forum, and as such, speakers must stay on topic if speaking to a particular agenda item, and if speaking during non-agenda public comment, they must address matters within the subject matter jurisdiction of the city. If speakers fail to follow these rules, they'll be warned, and if they continue to disregard the rules, their opportunity to speak will be ended. Do we have any non-agenda public speakers tonight?
No speakers.
Thank you. In that case, we'll move forward. Our next item is our staff communication from Recreation and Parks Director Justin Long. Director Long.
All right. Good evening, Commissioners. We'll go through our Director's report here. Upcoming citywide community events that are occurring. We have a volunteer coastal cleanup. This is taking place every second Saturday of the month, and it's ongoing at 10 a.m. at Seaplane Lagoon. It helps to bring gloves in a bag. This is put on by Community Action for a Sustainable Alameda. The 5th annual Spring Shindig is taking place Saturday, April 18th from 12 to 3 p.m. at the Alameda Point Gym. Come celebrate Earth Day with us. It's a free event. There's educational activities and community organizations and fun for all. Alameda Sings Spring Concert is taking place on April 18th at 7 p.m. at the Veterans Memorial Building. And then the Alameda Home Electrification Fair and Alameda Bike Festival is taking place Saturday, May 2nd at 11:30 a.m. at the Ruby Bridges Elementary School. Everyone's welcome. This is a free event. And then the 12th annual Play for the Parks Golf Fun and Dinner is taking place Monday, May 18th at Carica Park. Support from this event goes to Alameda Parks and from our Alameda Parks Foundation. And it's a fun day on the golf course. To register, please go to alamedaparks.org. For upcoming recreation events, our Community Rec, which is our free programs in the parks, offers games and crafts on the following Wednesdays, and they start at 3 p.m. and go to 5 p.m. So April 15th, it'll take place at Little John Park. And then on April 29th, it'll take place at Whale Park. Our Starlight Movies in the Park starts on May 8th. And the first movie will be is Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. This will be taking place at Crown Memorial Beach. And the event begins at 6:30 and the movie begins roughly around 8:15. So bring some chairs and blankets because it tends to get breezy. It's National Kids to Parks Day on Saturday, May 16th from 9:30 to 2 p.m. It'll be taking place at Sweeney Park. You can enjoy class demonstrations, crafts, and games. Bring your family and friends. Our Alameda Walk series will be happening on Saturdays, starting on May 16th at 9 a.m. at Harbor Bay Business Parkway, and with the next one taking place on May 23rd at the Gold Coast neighborhood. And if you want more details, you can find them on our website. I want to give you guys a few project updates. So the Aquatic Center is currently out for bid. Those will be due back on April 21st, and we'll have a better idea of what the actual total cost is going to be. And then we can award the contract and get a start date. Estuary Park Phase 2 construction is moving along pretty quickly. Walkways are getting paved. There's going to be courts being paved soon, and later in April here, our bathroom building is being installed. So we're hoping to have the completion towards the end of late fall, with opening several months after that, after the growing period. So hopefully by the end of 2026, it'll be open to the public. The Sweeney Park Trail Connectors, the long-awaited north and south connectors, are under construction currently, and they should be completed sometime in early May. And that'll open up to the public for Sweeney Park to be open to the north and south finally, instead of only having 2 entrances, one on the west and one on the east end. So we're excited for that. For the community garden, we have a meeting with Backyard Growers tomorrow, April 10th. We'll be meeting them on site and doing a walkthrough of the area of the garden, or where the proposed garden will be. Lydecker Playground, the contract is going to council here later in April or early May. So we can buy that playground and get that process started. We're looking to have completion of that installed by the end of 2026 at the latest. Our summer registration is open. A lot of our programs are filling up quickly. So if anyone has any need to get kids into camps, please visit our website. Our activity guide is online and it's filled with active links that bring you right to the registration for the actual classes. So hopefully that'll help limit any type of confusion with our registration software. We're also in the process of hiring for summer jobs for individuals ages 16 plus. We have several jobs posted on our website, so people can go and apply there, or on the city's website under the HR department for job postings. So we've got lots there. Our aquatics, the Encinal Swim Center, swim lessons for all ages. The registration is open for summer aquatics camps. So don't miss out on the different creativity and things you can do in the pool this year, as well as lessons and skill levels are underway. So, and swim sessions are offered on Sundays for open swim. Our spring break camps during AUC non-school days, since this is upcoming this coming week. We have spring vacation camp taking place at Harrison Center. We have an all sports and intro to basketball and sporty tots camps taking place at the Alameda Point Gym. There's special interest programs at various locations. And if you're looking for something to do last minute, please check out our website because there's still availability. Our teens, so ARPD is still facilitating the Queer Teen Alameda Center that takes place at the Underground Teen Center at the Vets Building. This is every Friday at 6 p.m. and we're in a partnership with Alameda Pride. The summer volunteer programs are open for registration. It's a good way for students to earn community service hours. We've got the Every Act Matters program. This helps assist with movie nights, the Sandcastle contest, the 4th of July parade, and our community rec program. We have Operation Green Sweep. This is Mondays and Fridays, June 22nd through July 24th. This makes our community cleaner, greener, and more beautiful in our parks. And then we have our Junior Leader program. This is a Monday through Friday program that runs July 6th through the 31st from 8 a.m. till 5:30. And this helps individuals learn leadership skills, gain experience, and prepare for future jobs with ARPD. Our youth programs at the Alameda Point Gym, we've got after school pickleball for middle schoolers, Tuesdays and Thursdays from 4 p.m. till 5:30. We're also offering homeschool PE K through 5th graders. This is Wednesdays and Fridays from 9 until 12. And then for adults, we have our open gym, which is taking place Sundays, 6 p.m. till 10 p.m. at the Alameda Point Gym. We have tennis. We have private and semi groups available. So if you're interested in tennis lessons, you can sign up for them if you visit our website. We have indoor pickleball taking place Fridays from 9:30 till 12 p.m. at the Alameda Point Gym. And then we're also offering, as a community member came and spoke to you all at the last meeting, our indoor roller skating taking place Wednesdays, 9 p.m. till 10:30 p.m. at the Alameda Point Gym. We've got some massive programs to offer. There's some new ones. There's an intro to artificial intelligence. This is taking place Monday and Wednesdays, April 20th through the 29th from 1 until 2:30 p.m. And they can do it via Zoom as well. And this is to teach people how to use AI tools and how to use them. There's strength training and cardio takes place Wednesdays, May 6th through the June 24th. That's 10:30 a.m. through 11:30 a.m. And this helps develop bone density and muscle mass, and all fitness levels are welcome. Mastic is also having their Spring Art Boutique. This is taking place Saturday, April 25th from 10 until 2 p.m. in the social hall. and celebrate spring at their art fair. And you can discover unique handmade creations, including some paintings, needlecraft jewels, ceramics, and more. Leisure date, just want to leisure for our leisure club, save the date. The Leisure Club Talent Show will be taking place Thursday, June 11th at the Harrison Center. It's a great event. And then in the parks, you're going to see that some improvements have been made at Little John. The dugouts were made to fit for ADA and replaced. And so there's some features there. We put in some safety netting and some benches again to help with the ADA. The trellises at Bohol Circle were repainted to, as we all have, not all, but with the salt air, our metal trellises needed to be redone. And we're also working on the Harrison Rec Center being painted currently. And then on March 10th through the 13th, 4 of our staff members attended the California Park and Recreation Society Conference in Long Beach and got a lot of good information and some good professional development training. Staff training on March 18th focused on using laser level equipment for infield and improving our field accuracy. And then our spring sports field maintenance is underway, so including irrigation activation, inspection, fertilization, and just really all support for improving the field quality. Want to take some time to recognize some of the staff. Dana Archibald has been a dedicated member for ARPD for over 14 years. She started as a rec leader and is now a rec specialist, consistently showing flexibility and a strong work ethic and a commitment to supporting programs across multiple sites. She contributes to program ideas for RAP. She assists in orders and with deliveries, and most recently helps coordinate entries for the Mayor's 4th of July parade. And it's a very essential role for that event, and we really appreciate her. She's been absolutely fantastic for us. And then I want to call out a couple of our maintenance staff. Nick Casenda and Oscar Ledesma successfully passed their certified playground safety inspector program, which is a very difficult task, but it's nice having internal staff that have that knowledge base so they can help keep everyone in the community safe. That's the end of the report.
Terrific. Thank you. Commissioners, questions for Director Long?
I have a question. I was approached by someone asking if they still had the clock at Franklin Park on the tennis courts. So I said, well, I don't know, I think it's still there. Well, I went down the other day and the clocks are not there. Is there any chance that those clocks could be replaced at Franklin?
Sure,
Or how should I go about responding to the community member?
just mentioning it now that we'll put it in
That
a
will
work
work?
order. And a
Okay,
work.
great. Thank you.
We'll take care of it.
Others? Okay, in that case, we'll move forward. Our next item is Commissioner Communications. Commissioner Alexander, welcome back. Would you like to
Thank
start
you.
us off?
Yes, I would. Thank you. Unfortunately, I was not here at the March meeting, and that's Women's Month, and I always give my traditional Women of ARPD speech. There's been a long history of women in this department, from the playground leaders all the way up to the director. And I think it's really important that we don't forget about them. And it would be nice for some time in the future to have something perhaps done in honor of all the women of ARPD in general. So that's my spiel for March. I went down to Estuary Park, and boy, is there a lot going on down there. It's really exciting to see. I went to Little John and checked out the Little League field. Someone had commented about the fence down there. So I went down, took a look at that. I said I went to the Franklin tennis courts. I think it's great that the movies in the park are moving around. Let's try it and see how it works this year. I would like to also talk about the activity guide. I had a chance to actually sit and read that from cover to cover. And I did cover to cover. It is absolutely amazing what 12 full-time staff members can put together. I don't know if people in this town realize all the different activities are offered, the daycare, the camps for kids. It's amazing. And my sister happened to be in town, and she was reading through it, and she goes, "Oh my God, these are really creative. When did they come up with all these things? You know, we had fun things, but look at all this." So I just want to commend staff. It's unbelievable, that guide. And I would also like to make a quick shout out for the Alameda Friends of the Park Golf Tournament on May 18th. Please come sign up. We're looking for foursomes. And that golf tournament is really run by former park directors. And the dinner afterwards at Lincoln Center is cooked by all former park directors. So yeah, we're getting a little older these days, but we're still kicking around. But it just shows you what the dedication was to the park systems several years ago. And I hope that that will continue as our parks continue to grow. I think that's all. Thank you.
Thank you. I would offer a second to that Alameda Parks golf dinner. I went last year.
Yeah.
It was delicious. Thank you. Commissioner Bernie.
I would like to give an appreciation to ARPD for making our parks very runner friendly. As I mentioned earlier before the meeting, I will be running in the Boston Marathon in about 2 weeks. And normally someone would say that could be that just for a personal goal, but I am actually running for charity. I am running for Cat Town, which is a cat shelter in Oakland that helps at-risk cats get adopted. And these are cats that have some type of either they don't trust humans, they might have a behavioral issue, and Cat Town helps them overcome those issues to help them find good homes and to not only help them live better lives, but help whoever adopts them live better lives. So because I was given the opportunity to raise money for Cat Town by running in the Boston Marathon, I would like to give a shout out to ARPD for helping make our parks very runner friendly and allowing me to train either very early in the morning or very late at night and make sure that I'm able to have a very successful marathon run in 2 weeks.
Thank you. Vice Chair Schwartz.
Like I mentioned last week, I've been spending a little bit more time than normal at Franklin since my son started playing t-ball there. But really great Sundays and Mondays. When I'm there, there's always people on the tennis courts. I'm usually at the baseball field, but there's people hanging out in the park area with all the trees or playing on the playground. So really great to experience a park I'm not usually at a little bit more. Also spent some time at Gene Sweeney and Cruzy, saw the connector work going on. So glad that is underway and should be wrapped up soon. And then this actually just happened today. So I believe the noon water aerobics classes have ended, but there's definitely still some patrons showing up, kind of asking about the class. And so definitely I know I was actually already emailing with Stacy today about unrelated. And I know she's working on some summer adult classes, but especially that one specifically, as I mentioned a couple months ago, I was really encouraged to see the turnout there, and there's still people actually showing up. I think it's been 2 weeks since that class is wrapped up, and there's still people showing up asking about it. So there's definitely still that sense of community they've built, and would love to, at least for that, since there was already some momentum there, not have to wait potentially for the summer to bring that back, and got some feedback today from some of those patrons about them wanting that program back. So just wanted to pass that on. That's all I got. Thank you.
Great, thank you. And I'll cede my time back this evening in the interest of moving us forward. The next item on the agenda is to approve the minutes from our March 12th, 2026 meeting. Can we have a motion, please, to approve those minutes?
I will motion to approve.
And a roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Alexander,
I'll abstain. I was not here.
Commissioner Bernie,
I was saying I was not here.
Vice Chair Schwartz,
Yes.
and Chair Radiz.
Yes. Is that sufficient to approve?
I think so.
Yep. Okay. In that case, the motion's been approved. Thank you. The next item on our agenda is our regular agenda item 6A, which is to consider a recommendation to approve the memorial amenity policy. We'll start with a report and a presentation, then the commissioners can ask clarifying questions. We'll have the opportunity for public comment, and then commissioners will discuss and offer their own feedback. Then we'll need a motion to recommend or not recommend the approval of this policy at the end of our discussion. Director Long, thank you.
All right. Good evening, commissioners. We're here tonight to talk about the memorial amenity policy. This is a new policy for our department. What we've had in our current practice is we've had a procedure for years. Okay. This is not advancing. Sorry. Can you advance it, Donna? Sorry about that. Basically, we've had a procedure for years. So you could fill out a form, you could donate a picnic table, a bench, but we really had no real information in there about duration or to give people a lot of clarity. So we've had a procedure. And so what we've done here today is to put together a policy that hopefully will bring clarity on and establish like the ongoing commitments and expectations from both ARPD as well as the donors. So the proposed policy, it'll really provide clear and consistent guidelines. It supports long-term maintenance, implementation of the plan, and defines what the park amenity library is. So like, for example, right now we have benches, picnic tables. We have 2 different types of tables, but we also didn't want to just limit it to only those. Like say if someone wanted to donate a different park amenity, that they would have the ability to do so under this policy. It also clarifies the eligibility, requirements, costs, and the term of the donation. It applies to, like I said, benches, tables, and other park amenities as well. Next slide. For eligibility, individuals, families, organizations may apply. What we've tried to do here is to make sure that it's not a commercial process. So this has really been for families, organizations, and individuals. You would still fill out a very similar memorial amenity request form. It gives us all the details. You'll provide an inscription that you would want. We'll talk about preferred location, amenity type, your contact information, and then receiving payment. So the term or duration here is new, so that we'll spend some time here. What we're looking at is having new amenities have a 10-year dedication or the life of the amenity. And this really is talking about sort of the duration of in the park system, trying to establish clear guidelines, but we also want to make sure that there's also a renewal process. So let's say if you would like to do that, we would allow for another 10-year renewal for a modest fee of $1,000. So the other thing that we're also talking about is we have some substantial number of existing park benches out here and that are already in the system. And what this policy is establishing that anything that is currently in existence from the time the policy is adopted would be extended for a full 10-year term, regardless of when it was originally donated, as long as the asset still can exist due to its condition. So that's one of the ways we try to incorporate all the pre-donors that were not in this policy current or before it existed at all. So what we also like to do is you can renew. Anything non-renewed could be rededicated or moved to another location, or depending on the actual bench itself, whether it needs to be replaced or removed due to its condition. And then we also just wanted to put this one in here because if a bench gets completely vandalized to the point where it is not safe to use or has been very vandalized that it is unsafe, we want to have the right to be able to remove or relocate that facility. We would actually replace it if it were destroyed. So just put that out there. Next slide, please. So locations and availability. So this is something that you'll put down your preferences of where you'd want it, and then we will work with the individual donor to talk about where they can go. Now, we have lots of parks. We have some parks that are at capacity. So those will have to fall into some other parameters as well. Like, for example, we want to make sure that they're in safe spaces, we maintain accessibility, that it fits into the master plan of the park, and that we can actually still maintain around said location. And then we also want to make sure that we're putting them in places that aren't going to interfere with normal park use. We're not going to put one in the middle of a baseball field, for example. And then, like I say, some parks are limited due to the quantity that have already been donated into those. And then we'll also have alternatives to provide other folks. For example, we have over 700 benches in our system, and right now about 150 of them have dedications. So just to give you an idea that we still have capacity to take donors on existing facilities, as well as provide new locations for those as well, should someone really want a specific location. And then we have to still put this in here about we're still concerned about, if things are damaged and we cannot repair that, we would have to be able to remove them in a timely way. Next slide. So the application process and timeline, you would request a form, we would review it with you, and when we get to installation, and generally this is going to take between 8 and 16 weeks, depending on having the plaque made, having the amenity ordered, and then we can work on installation of that. And so that's generally the timeline, is 8 to 16 weeks, depending on if we have them in stock or not. So, what we'll do and what we're committing to as part of this is that we'll meet with the applicants to confirm locations. We'll review the inscription and the placement. We'll offer a renewal option for existing amenities. Again, it's a 10-year term. And then again, it is subject to the life cycle of the amenity. If you donated a drinking fountain and it needed to be replaced after 10 years, it's to the term of the amenity, for example. And we'll be tracking the contact information, which is why we take those forms. So if a donor cannot be reached at the end of the term, we may rededicate, but we'll do every effort to contact them and decide if they want to renew. So this comes down to the cost portion. And so this right now, our existing fees are around $2,000 to $2,200 plus any concrete pad that you would have to do. But by establishing this 10-year maintenance, where it's really breaking down to actual costs. Based on our original conversation with the commission, the feedback that we received was that we should really try to put it to what is it actually costing the department to maintain and to keep these amenities. And so we've established the donations now. Concrete bench is $5,000, the ironwood bench is $6,000, and a picnic table is $5,500. Now, just to break this down a little bit, the actual cost to us for a bench is $2,000. For the table, it's again $2,000, and then the ironwood bench, just to buy the material, is another $2,200. So a concrete slab for them to sit on, because what we've determined with many of these benches, you need to have a paving pad underneath them. It provides them from settling, and it keeps it in a much better condition for the general public. And that runs between $1,000 and $1,500 generally. And then the 10-year maintenance cost. So that ranges between $2,000 and $2,400 based on how many times staff have to go out and clean it, how many times staff have to either take graffiti off of it, some things will need to be painted. And so that's the ongoing cost for the 10-year term, just to give you a better idea of the breakdown. Next slide. And then, so tonight we're here seeking your feedback and approval of the policy. And with that, I'll open it to questions.
Great, thank you. Commissioners, it's our opportunity to ask clarifying questions. Just as a reminder, we'll start with questions and then we'll have the opportunity for discussion and feedback a little bit later. Questions for Director Long?
So just to reiterate, so there's 150 current memorial benches, tables, et cetera?
Well, that's just the benches. There's about 75 tables out there as well. We've tracked them all in GIS, and so they're all located for us across the system, so we know where they are.
Cool. And then do you feel like you have sufficient contact details for at least the majority of those right now?
I think we have a decent amount. I think some of the older donations will be a little bit harder to track down, but we'll do our best to do that.
Great. That was it. Thanks.
Please, Commissioner Burney.
Are we expecting these fees to remain as they are for the entire 10 years?
What I For maintenance, from the time that you do this, whatever you reserve it at, that'll be your fee from the time when you sign up for the memorial.
Right, so I know, so if a person buys one now, or say that phrase, but if they buy one now for 5,000, then that is, for them, that lasts the entire 10 years. But let's say 5 years from now, someone wants to buy them, we're expecting, I'm assuming these will adjust with inflation and things like that.
Yeah, we'll bring back the policy regularly to the commission to talk about increasing fees as it needs to in order to accommodate if the prices go up. And as we all know, things go up. So we'll be bringing that back to you on an as needed basis for you guys to review and approve.
Okay, and is there a process for if a donor wants to transfer to someone else? I'm assuming some of these individuals might be older and they might want to transfer their responsibility, or something happens to them, to their offspring or friend. Is there a process for that?
I don't think we considered that. We may want to look at adding that to the policy or having at least a discussion around it, but that wasn't a primary discussion from what we received from feedback.
Yeah, I'm just, because I'm saying if a donor can't be reached, I'm just trying to assume that, I don't know the demographics, but I'm assuming things happen, people might want to maintain this, and they might want to transfer for someone else, so that might be something to look into.
Again, I think we'll be open to the conversation, and should we have that and someone approach us, if it's during the term or of an existing term, then we would probably allow that to occur. Yes.
So is this renewal option, is this for, just so I'm clear, is this for the current memorials, or is this for someone at the end of the 10 years and they have the option to renew?
This is for the end of the 10 years. We're giving anyone who already has one a full 10 years already from the time the policy gets adopted.
Oh,
At that time, if they choose to renew, it would be $1,000.
okay. And why 1,000?
Well, we felt because we're not purchasing it, and depending on the maintenance cost and components of what we've already spent, that it'll probably be average out between the first 10 years of maintenance and then the next 10. So that's why we chose the $1,000 mark.
Okay. But this also has the potential to increase based on inflation and things like that. So
Again,
at this moment in time, we're saying 10,000, but just so, or 10 years from now, it could be something else, but we don't know, but that will be adjusted, or 5 years from now.
so it'll exist, the renewal exists at the time of your contract. So if you signed up and it was initially $1,000, when you get to the end of your 10 years,
Yes,
it'll be
for that person,
$1,000.
but later on, if someone finds up, it might be different, just the,
Correct.
okay. And then these forms are submitted, they have to be submitted via paper. There's no online option.
Currently, we don't have that ability to do that online, as we are investigating replacing our asset management, our reservation system. We'll look to see if that can be a component.
Okay. And then the only options that the person has is a concrete bench, an ironwood bench, and a picnic table.
Those are the standards that we have currently. But if someone wanted to donate a drinking fountain, it would be at the cost of the actual amenity plus the installation.
Okay.
I'd like to thank staff for making this policy. I think it's a good idea to have the clarification. It's very comprehensive. I think it explains things very well. I just have a quick question. I'm going to do my math. So if I have a $5,000 bench and it costs $2,000 to install it, that's $3,000 left for maintenance for the 10 years. Am I doing that correct?
Yes.
Plus the concrete pad. Plus the.
So if you
concrete pad.
subtract the concrete pad, that's $1,500, so it'd be $1,500 for 10 years. That would be the maintenance fee.
Yes.
Okay, so are you going to stain the ironwood benches if they needed to be stained once a year?
I can defer to our assistant director on what the maintenance staff are doing.
We are doing our best to stain them on an annual basis. Sometimes that's done with volunteer staff such as Green Sweep and others, but staff resources are used for that.
If I have a bench that I've donated, can I go stain it myself with this new policy?
I think that we would look into kind of our existing structure of what we have using volunteers and resources like Green Sweep and others, if that would align with that.
So you wouldn't want the person who has that bench there to go stain it once a year? You'd prefer that you did it?
I think we'd
Or
like to,
contact you to let you know that they wanted to do it perhaps?
I think contacting us to establish that kind of expectation would be reasonable.
Okay, and contacting the current donors, just a suggestion. I'm just thinking about the benches that I know. There's probably 2 or 3 contact names you could get from that person. So if contact person A had moved, I'm sure you've thought about that, but
Yeah, we'll do our best effort to, when we reach out to the initials, to contact as many as we can or contact others that may know them in order to try to get current contact information.
Our existing form currently has 2 primary and alternative contact info, either email and or phone.
and you said there were, I forget the correct number of benches that are out there that have not been dedicated to someone. Is that correct? So if I wanted to just take that bench and dedicate it, could I buy the plaque and put it on that bench? It's already there.
We have currently been doing that at the same rate as if you were to place a new amenity as well. It's been.
So it'd be the
current-
same cost. You would.
Our
okay.
current practice has been that, yeah.
Okay. That's all my questions. Thank you.
Thank you. I have a few questions myself. Following directly onto this point, I appreciate that the model in essence is a 10-year license of dedication as opposed to more of an ownership of the memorial. I'm curious, from your standpoint operationally, is there a distinction? It seems like your operating assumption is that this donation is made to purchase a bench that's then installed and so forth. Is there any distinction that's worthwhile to make between in the agreement language or whatnot between that starting assumption? Is it to add memorial to a bench, whether new or existing, for a period of 10 years? Is that the general principle? Or is the general principle to say that we are buying and installing this memorial item?
So I would say in principle, it is, whether it's new or existing, that you're getting a memorial in a park for up to 10 years.
Right.
And then with the ability to renew for another 10 years.
Right. And then what's happening behind the scenes is really up to you.
Correct.
Yeah. Okay, good. The second question is just looking at the relative pricing. I was a little surprised to see that a full picnic table is cheaper than the second bench option. That's just my pricing mind going. Is there any sense? I mean, the picnic table is physically bigger, right? Is there any sense in increasing that pricing to reflect that, or does this make the most sense in your estimation?
So surprisingly, our concrete precast finishes are quite cost effective. An ironwood bench is a very expensive type of wood and very durable, long lasting. However, they just carry a much higher cost from purchase.
Okay.
So
okay,
it's unfortunate, but
okay. Third question is, so I was looking around at other cities in the area. In our previous conversation in December, right, we're trying to balance the concepts of access on the one hand and covering costs on the other. At these price points, are you comfortable kind of benchmarking against other cities? The one that I found that had the most fulsome policy in comparison was the East Bay Regional Park District, which I imagine you've looked at. Are you comfortable with just how our pricing sits relative to other municipalities?
We reviewed quite a few different municipalities and their pricing, and as you can tell, they widely range all over the place. What we've tried to do is look at, because we took your recommendation of actually trying to cover costs. And so I think what we'll do is we'll evaluate this policy based on what we see happening.
Mm-hmm.
And if we feel like the pricing is too high, we can adjust. If we want to create, and I think what this will give us the ability to do is we might be able to create different levels in the future of this. I think what we're trying to do is to start on some standard features, and we may have others that get brought into the system or library that may be more attainable at a lower price point. So I think one of the things that I didn't address at the beginning is this procedure was put into place because as you walk around the parks, you'll find random plaques, different places. And one of the reasons why we're putting a policy in place is really to try to organize what happens in the park system so we don't have a widely varied library of assets in the park. And I think this is a way that we can do that.
Okay.
And so I think that's another component of why we try to limit the number of options of what we're giving folks.
Cool. And then my last question, just pushing a little bit further on what Commissioner Alexander and Commissioner Burney raised, just in terms of future testing this, 10 years from now is a long time. Imagine who among us will be here in 10 years. Just in thinking about someone inheriting this policy, I just want to make sure we're not leaving them with a liability. $1,000 for the subsequent 10-year period, is that a comfortable, can we push that a little bit? I mean, is $2,000 a more appropriate figure? Is $1,000 enough? I would just want to make sure we cover that.
Yeah, I think what we were trying to evaluate was what would be considered reasonable since we're not acquiring more material. And I think that the initial maintenance period should keep the donation in good shape since we've charged the maintenance before.
Okay.
And so I think that $1,000 would probably be reasonable at this given time for continuing that asset for another 10.
Okay, great.
I have another quick question.
Commissioner Alexander.
How many picnic tables and benches do we have donated each year? Just a guesstimate.
I would say in the last 2 years, it's been around number of hovers between 25 to 35.
That's a lot.
It is.
That's a lot. My only concern is the cost of this. I understand it, but I think I'm concerned with the cost, but it is what it is.
Let's discuss that further in a moment. Any further questions? No?
I just have one, possibly two more. The first question is, how long can they renew this? How many times can they renew this?
It will depend on the life of the asset. I think that is the contending factor. So if after you get to the end of your 10-year term, and it's your second 10-year term and it's still in good shape, I mean, that's a long time for a park asset to last in the public. So we would provide that opportunity, and we may even, that might be a good suggestion for modifying the policy to say you can have one renewal.
Yeah.
And that's why we're here today, to get your feedback.
And is there a scenario in which for our past memorials that the person asked for their money back?
We've not had that happen. So I'm not sure that there would be
there's no concern.
I don't believe
about
so.
that, or someone coming in and they're saying, I don't know at what point that they have to commit their money, and then all of a sudden they're saying, well, I don't want to do this anymore. Is there any? Do we just keep it? Do we give it back to them?
I mean, we've had some opinion or some concerns about benches that were either delivered damaged or had flaws to them that have either been patched or at times plaque has been removed and put on a different bench or table. Right now, we have not had anyone though that's requested a refund for a memorial.
Do we know what we would do in that scenario?
I think we would, look at it and have a conversation with the individual and determine at that point if that's what they truly want to do, that we would remove the plaque and leave the bench and hand them the plaque back. And if they would like their money back, we would probably return it.
Okay.
Thank you. Do we have any public comment on this item?
No speakers, no public comment.
Thank you. In that case, we'll have the opportunity for commissioners to discuss and for comment.
I mean, I can start. Thank you, Director Long. I think we talked about in December adding, the renewal fee being locked so that, because obviously in 10 years, things are going to change. I do, kind of think about, we're thinking about it $1,000 in today's money, but we got to probably think, what would that be in 10 years? Should it be higher? I would definitely consider that because I think what we talked about in December is trying to make sure that costs are covered at a minimum. And so definitely would want to make sure that we're comfortable with that $1,000, knowing that that's $1,000 in 2036, 2037, and not necessarily today. But I do appreciate the lock-in because I definitely think, I would hate for to kind of give these amounts and then all of a sudden it's 10 years later and it's like, oh, now it's 2,000 and that's not what you were planning for. So I do appreciate that, but I do want to kind of make sure we're thinking forward on that. I understand, some of the concerns around like, well, if the bench already exists, but from my perspective, we bought the bench, and then now part of this, fee is basically recovering the cost of buying that bench. So I understand there might be pushback on new bench versus existing one, but that bench was paid for by ARPD, and it's really just, you're really recovering the cost. And I would make sure to phrase it that way if there is pushback. Because the ultimate thing is, again, making sure the costs are covered, and that includes any costs that may have already, happened. I guess those are the two things I had.
Okay. The only thing that I have is that I am concerned about inflation, but I understand the situation that we're in, but I do think that especially given how fluctuating inflation can be, today's price probably won't be the future price. And it's just something that I am concerned about that. But I understand that you have to give people some type of set. It's not really fair to give them a set price and say, oh, it might increase by 500 in 10 years or 5 years, because we don't know. It could be the opposite situation. But I do think that is something to be cognizant of as this procedure is continually brought up to the commission.
Thank you.
I like the policy. I think it's well done, was well thought out. My only question would be, I think the person that's going to buy the $5,000 concrete bench needs to have it itemized so they know the cost, how much it's costing to put that slab in, and have it more detailed for them, not thinking that this bench is $5,000 when they look at it. That seems like I would think twice about that, unless I knew that this money is going towards a slab that has to be put in. This is going toward the maintenance. So it's X number of dollars here. I think maybe a little more definitive information on that might be helpful.
I'd also like to just open a little bit more conversation on the pricing issue. I returned to the East Bay Regional Park District policy because, in a sense, that right over at Crown Beach, the direct substitute in a sense for this policy, and they charge $5,000 for effectively a 10-year license, but they're seeming their starting point is that you're working with an existing bench. So in a sense, it's $5,000 with no installation at all. And so in thinking about the issue you were raising, Commissioner Alexander, about this balance between cost and access, I think we might be able to look at it from both directions. I agree with Commissioner Burney that my sense is that $1,000 10 years from now is going to be a little bit low. I mean, 3 to 5% inflation, and we're already, 50% higher than that, today. By the same token, I agree with Commissioner Alexander in the sense that $5,000 on an existing facility feels a bit expensive. So I wonder whether there's any space to look at a lower rate for putting a plaque on an existing facility, while at the same time raising the renewal rate to reflect higher ongoing costs. And also, in a sense, at that point, you are putting a plaque on an existing facility, right? So there's a certain parallel structure there at the renewal point. And as I was taking notes during Director Long's presentation, I wonder whether the rate to put a plaque on an existing bench could be $2,500, so a lower price point for someone who's perhaps a little bit more cost sensitive, and that renewal rate on the newly installed bench today would also be moved to $2,500. to accomplish both goals. So effectively a discount on an existing facility and then a higher price on the renewal in the future. I wonder if that resonates with anyone.
My only concern with that is, a bench could get installed today for, again, let's go all in is $5,000. So purchase, delivery, site preparation, installation. And then in 3 months, now someone's paying half the price to put a plaque on it. And so again, now ARPD is eating half the cost that they would be otherwise. Because I get from an optics standpoint what it seems like, but like ARPDs, there's still money to do all the things that this policy covers. That's all sunk, like costs that have already happened. And so it's ARPD recouping those costs versus, okay, now I'm getting money and then buying the bench, doing the preparation. I think that's, and maybe some explanation of that goes in here. I don't know. I think it becomes way too big of a challenge to do. Well, this park bench is 5 years old, so it's discounted versus this park bench is 3 days old. I think that just creates too much administrative burden. And I think this is a great starting point, and it would be great to get feedback and like knowing this isn't set in stone, we could reevaluate next year if there's a ton of feedback on it. I would just hate to make it overly complex.
Sure.
And then definitely don't want, and I think one of the key things we talk about December, making sure that it isn't a financial burden on parks. So I think this is actually a really good starting point. Other than, again, I do kind of want to also think about the 1,000 if that's enough for a 10-year amount.
Well, if the policy is approved with the numbers that we have, it'll be interesting to see how many benches or picnic tables are donated in the next year. There's your point right there.
Yep.
Who are we expecting to be able to pay for this? It is just I know anyone can pay for these features, but do we have some idea about the number that we expect to be able of new benches that we expect to get from this policy?
We haven't put any expected numbers on this. So, I mean, these are usually additive. They're usually meant to memorialize. We don't use this as the standard as the way for us to replace a bench.
Right.
So we try to do that with our operating dollars. The whole point of this is to create an opportunity
That's right.
for members of the public who want to memorialize someone or a pet or whatever they want, to give them an opportunity to do so.
Yeah.
And so we don't use this as replacement of our operational program.
Yeah.
So again, we don't set expectations because these are additive.
Yeah. The point of my question is that I'm not expecting, let's say, 10,000 people to do something like this. I think it's only maybe a couple of hundred, maybe less than that, to do that.
And again, for the term we've had the program, we have 150 benches.
That's right.
We have 75 picnic tables. So, I mean, it gives you an idea over the term of our procedure, what we actually have, even at the $2,000 rate. So I'm not going to anticipate that we get a ton, but we have donors to Mastic all the time. We have people regularly donate. Last year, we had a donation of $585,000 to the Mastic Senior Center. So it just all varies on the individuals. I think if we observe that the costs are too high and that it basically makes the program stop, then we'll reevaluate and we'll come back to the commission with other options for folks, because we really want to provide a service here, and that's what this policy is trying to do.
Okay.
So let's push on the pricing here in a moment. Before we do, I need to double back with one clarifying question. In terms of the case of vandalization of the facilities, does the policy accommodate repair of a bench that gets vandalized, or is that an additional cost to the donor?
So there will be no additional cost to the donor if there is a outside vandalism that occurs to it. Our only issue is if the vandalism is so severe that it'll be removed, and if we have the resources at the time, we'll replace it then.
I see.
And so it may take us a little bit of time to replace it, but it's not to eliminate it.
Okay. But if someone splashes paint across it, then that'll be
Our
rectified.
operational dollars and the maintenance dollars are what those are for in order to
Right.
remove the graffiti, remove the paint, and clean it back to as close as we can get to its original condition.
Right.
Wait, so if the, let's say this bench is destroyed, vandalism destroys the bench. So it's a sunk cost, we will have to replace it?
What we'll end up doing is in our operational plan, we will look at the asset and see if we can replace it.
Mm.
And if it takes us time to do so, it'll take time to do that. It won't be a direct replacement cost to the department. But as time and the bench is in our normal rotation, because once benches become into the park locations, eventually they will need to be replaced because they are where they are.
Yeah, I'm not, well, I understand we have that. I'm talking about the scenario in which, let's say a bench out there, vandalism occurs and the bench is entirely destroyed. And the family is saying, well, I want the bench back. Is that will we pay to replace that particular bench? Or will the family have to pay another $1,000 or $5,000 to get that new bench installed?
So what I'm trying to clarify here is that the bench will be replaced by the city at a point in time. It won't be replaced immediately, but as our inventory is available, we will do our best to replace it. The plaque itself on the bench will be up to the family to
Okay.
replace.
Okay, let's move towards a motion. Are there any concerns before we get there? Are there any other concerns with the policy itself? No? Okay, so let's look at this one at a time. We'll look at the initial install pricing, and then we'll look at the renewal pricing. Is there any hesitation folks would like to voice with approving the installation prices, the benches and the table?
I don't have any.
Okay. Is there any hesitation that anyone would like to express about approving the renewal rate at $1,000?
Yeah, I kind of like your idea, Chair, of let's assume if we assume 3% a year, 10 years, maybe we make it 1,300. That would be, let's just make assumption that then that's $1,000 in today's money.
Any others?
I am under the assumption that this $1,000 will not last long in terms when it comes to inflation. And that we will have to, it will be increasing very soon. And that's just how things have been going when it comes to inflation. So I'm not sure it will be able to cover the maintenance costs for a 10-year period.
Would you like to make a proposal on that point?
Because we don't know what the inflation will be. That's the issue. That's why I keep coming back to saying that we don't know what it will be in the future. So I do think the only thing I can suggest is I understand the intention is to have the $1,000 locked for a 10-year period, but I'm not sure it should be. I think whoever pays for it should understand that if it could increase over time. And they give us that option to do so.
No. Director Long, can you help us? Is there a general inflation assumption that you make when you're budgeting for the department?
So generally, we plan on a 3 to 5% inflation on an annual basis. We use the California CPI, and we use, usually it's somewhere in that range. This last year it was 3.6.
In that case, I'd like to suggest that we protect Director Long with 5% and say $1,500 at the renewal. Is there any hesitation to that? Okay. In that case, can I hear a motion to approve the policy as proposed with the only adjustment being a $1,500 renewal cost instead of $1,000?
I will motion to approve the memorial amenity policy with just the update to increase the renewal fee to $1,500, but continue to keep it locked at the time of the original purchase.
Second.
We have a roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Alexander,
I'm going to abstain from voting. I have two benches at a park, and I also have a picnic table. And I don't think it's right for me to make a vote on this proposal. And I would just making that as a statement because I think we all have to be really careful when we have certain things in this city that are near and dear to us and we have to make a vote. So I think it's really important that I abstain from this vote. Thank you.
Commissioner Berney,
Approved.
Vice Chair Swartz,
Yes.
Chair Adis.
Yes. Thank you, everyone. The motion's approved. Okay, the next item on the agenda is our next meeting on May 14th, 2026. Do we have any agenda items that anyone would like to put on that agenda? Director Long?
We'll probably be bringing back several project updates visually for you so you can kind of see where they're at. Both the Aquatic Center and Estuary Park.
Terrific. Okay, in that case, hearing no other agenda item proposals, the next item on the agenda is the adjournment. Could we have a motion to adjourn, please?
I would like to make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second.
And a vote, please.
Commissioner Alexander,
Yes.
Commissioner Berney,
Yes.
Vice Chair Swartz.
Yes.
Chair Adis.
Yes. Thank you very much, everyone. The meeting's now adjourned. We'll see everyone in May.